And if we are not taking over the mind, then this mind takes over us.
Uh-huh.
So we are going to start our journey. We have been doing, just couple of the few sections that we say. We were talking about the purity of the mind, conventional methods, self-inquiry is the best method, and we added a particular thing that is Mangalacharan, auspiciousness. That is the to to the journeys. So you see, do you remember? And if you keep your mind into that state of auspiciousness, the life is definitely going to change. That is also an answer the to the to the Terry's question, and also the beginning of today's session. So
Yeah.
how do you
What
find
what
your
what is the to the word Charan?
what is the word?
The second word.
Conventional methods, then
Charan.
we conventional methods, then we went to uh, the purity of the mind, and when we went purity of the mind, and then we last couple of sessions we were talking about auspiciousness, Mangalacharan. So I have to invoke in my mind by thought uh, about the existence. I'm taking up that. So first question, how do you find the journey? What changes has taken place in these couple of weeks and months and years? You have to recheck and check again. What changes has taken place in the mind? How the mind is able to perceive the world outside relations and situations. So how do you find the answer? How many times you were upset, anxious, fully busy since the last session? That will answer that question. We have, so Master says, we have no right to die before we learn and study Eastern wisdom. Why? That so that I can enter into peace and happiness. I can realize my own nature. We have always been thinking, about the stress and anxiety, duality and a conflict, etc. etc. We have no time, we have no right to die. The master says, can you keep that thought in your mind and ask yourself, do I have a right to be in stress, to be in anxiety? Why? Because I'm not worthy of suffering. I'm not worthy of suffering. So anytime you fall into unconsciousness, you fall into unconsciousness, you have to rise in consciousness. And that is why I asked you how many times since the last session you were upset, you were anxious and reacted. I know you were not going to tell me in a session, but you have to contemplate and think. Don't tell me, otherwise you will say what I have been doing. Normally people ask, when my anxiety will, when I stop getting upset. You have to ask yourself. Because you are upset, you are into anxiety, you are reacting, you are blaming, you are complaining. So who is blaming, complaining, and reacting? It is our mind. So we go back to the same stuff. It is because of the impurity of the mind. And the impurity of the mind. So I told you before also that I'm repeating again, we started talking impurity of the mind, conventional method. Then the best method is the self-inquiry. But we added one element that is very important to invoke auspiciousness in my mind. In spite of the fact that you have an extreme pain in the body, you have unfavorable situation in day-to-day living, can I invoke that auspiciousness? And I gave an example of the Ganesha. It has nothing to do with the religion. It has nothing to do with cult or dogma. I told you the Ganesha, the large ears mean that you follow the listening and learning principles. So listening and learning, you can recall in your mind that my nature is the real self. From there you start the journey. Instead, "Oh, I have a lot of stress, what should I do? Do nothing." You have no right to that until the stress is gone. You think we have no right to that. Finish. So those large ears represents the listening and learning, the principle, the large head. I have already told you, large head means contemplation and reflection. It is not, you should not have a physically large head. We are not talking of physically large head. Don't mistake it. That your mind goes there. Let me start contemplation and reflection. Why? Because the discernment and dispassion will take over the mind, and that will prove that we are not worthy of suffering. Small mouth. Don't engage yourself into gossip. Now, when we start gossiping, then what happens? Welcome, Christina. Anyhow, you joined. That's good. We met in New Jersey, so she's in New Jersey. Our Terry is also in New Jersey. So think of this, the small mouth, that we should not enter into the gossip, because that gossip contains the element of the impurity of the mind, and that is going to cause the stress and the suffering. Small ears indicates small eyes keep the focus. So the 5 factors, do you still remember? If you have been repeating the previous sessions, I told you how symbolic it is and how important it is. Kakachesta, the effort like a crow. I get into the stress and anxiety. No, I have to continue to make an effort. In line with the principles of Eastern wisdom, that is going to help us. Not in line with, I have a lot of stress and go on thinking about it, go on thinking. So you remain in the line of the stress. You don't get out of it. So that is why we are learning these principles of Eastern wisdom. So I'm just repeating, and I'll come back to the main topic. The effort like a crow means you have already heard the story of a pebble. Focus like a crane. So my focus is that I am the real self. I am the peace and happiness. How to discover that? How to realize that? Rather than keep on thinking about all the challenges that you have. And means it is what is the Swan and Indra Tathaivacha? That is the Sanskrit. The sleep like a dog. What is sleeping? Sleeping is an unconscious mind. Unconscious mind will invite the habitual thoughts. It will take you to the impurities. So here that I should have a sleep like a dog simply means the moment the mind goes to the anxiety, stress, duality, and a conflict, I should take it back, let the mind think, enter into a spaciousness. Those who have attended the first session, so it's no problem. You will continue to learn. And taking care of the food and the thought. So what happens when we purify the mind? Do you remember I told you it is the shock absorber. It gives you an emotional freedom. It gives you an emotional freedom. The wrong notions in your mind dissolve. Mind awakens to what is right and good for you. It drops the unfavorable situation. There is a rise of awareness. Until we have a rise of awareness, we cannot succeed in the state of mindfulness. There is the natural state of the peace and happiness, calm and poise. That ultimately manifests peace and love. So in the last session, we discussed that the self-inquiry is the best method to purify the mind. What do you mean by the purification of the mind? The mind lives in higher awareness. Mind has a natural state of the focus. Mind, so-called, many people talk to me that I am very sensitive. What do you mean by sensitive? The mango tree is not sensitive outside. Doesn't it sustain? Does it create a problem? Does it feel that I have a lot of problems? Everything is sensitive. But if you fall in unconsciousness, that sensitivity causes the emotional bondage. But if you rise in consciousness, there is a sense of emotional freedom. Am I not sensitive? Yes, I'm extraordinary. In an extraordinary way, I am sensitive. I was listening to Terry's problem. I am sensitive to your challenges, your problem. I don't create a problem to myself being sensitive. Are you understanding? Normally people, yesterday also this young guy was saying, I'm very sensitive. I said, very good. So go there where you cannot be sensitive. Stay there. Live there. Is it possible? No, let me come back. So best method is the self-inquiry. How to do this self-inquiry? By picking up the principles, followed by the chain of thoughts, focused on the principle, you reflect, and out of that reflection, we purify the mind. I have already, can we point to the impurities of the mind? That is the most important topic in Eastern wisdom. We have discussed about the impurities. Impurity of the mind should go away. It should bring the emotional freedom. It will act as a shock absorber. It will bring a favorable situation in our life when there is a purity of the mind. So Eastern wisdom, we have to understand what are those impurities of the mind. Now we are going to talk about what are those impurities of the mind that causes the challenges in our life, that causes the stress, duality, conflict, and problems. So those impurities of the mind are likes and dislikes. What do you mean by likes and dislikes? I like a cup of coffee. It means I have an impurity in the mind. No and yes both. What is no and what is yes? If I'm attached to, I cannot do without cup of coffee on a single day. That is impurity. I have a preference. Okay, I like it. So that preference does not make me slave. If it makes me slave, it is impurity, whether it is a like or dislike. Did you ever experience that once you dislike someone, the guy you have disliked, he enjoys a good sleep, and your mind is constantly thinking about that dislike, your sleep is disturbed. That is impurity. Did you understand? We have to have a very thin balance. Oh, you like a particular dress, go ahead. But it should not make you slip. That makes you sensitive. Are you understanding that? Sensitive in a negative way. So first group, no, we will talk about it. I'm talking in a general way. We will take up each and every impurity in the mind, and we will see how to reflect on it and how to remove those impurities. So first is the dislike and dislike. That causes attachment and detachment. What is attachment and detachment? Both are emotional dependence. Even if I'm detached, I'm constantly thinking. That too is emotional dependence. Then desire. What do you mean? Should I not have a desire? Again, the power of discernment comes. Desire that is seeking peace, happiness, love, wisdom from the world outside is an impurity. The desire to have a car, okay, have it if you have the resources. But in that process, there should not be any seeking of happiness from the world outside. Then there is a purity, hesitation, anger, greed, compulsive habit, pride, egoism, delusion, jealousy. They all are the impurities of the mind. We will take up each step by step and we will see how to purify that mind. Let me go to the teaching of this master. He says first pair is likes and dislikes. Second pair is the desire, anger, or hesitation and greed. Second tribe. First pair, two, third, second is the tribe. What is that? Desire, hesitation or stress or anger, they are included in one, and greed. That is tribe. Another pair, ego and selfishness. So we will focus on these two pairs and one tribe. These are the various impurities of the mind. Master says. Which master? Who lived almost 3,000 years ago from today. Do you see these principles are still relevant? It has nothing to do with modern psychology. We have more than 300 psychologists, and everyone is different. That's why we have hundreds of approaches. Why we have hundreds of approaches? There is no absolute principle. If there is an absolute principle, then you don't need 300 principles. No, I'm not criticizing it. That's we are critically evaluating it. But the masters have, their goal is to find the real self. The real self is of the nature of peace, happiness, love, and wisdom. So if as long as I live in the false self, why I live in the false side? Because of the impurities of the mind. So how to purify the mind? We have already added conventional method and the self-inquiry. So in a live session, we are already going through a self-inquiry. We have to remember, we have to recall the auspiciousness. So likes and dislikes, desire, or you can add hesitation or stress or anger. And the third one is the greed. And then we have ego and the selfishness. They are the three. Now, how the masters approach, how the Eastern wisdom approaches these impurities. Are these impurities present in a dream state? Look at the approach. The approach. You have to appreciate that approach. Are these impurities present in a sleep state? No. Are they present in a dream state? It may be present to a dreamer, not to a waker. Did you understand that? In a dream state, the dream state does not know what is a waking state. So if you are dreaming, you are a dreamer. If you are in a waking state, you are a waker. If you are sleeping, you are a sleeper. Clear. So now, all these impurities, are they present in the sleeping state? The sleeper does not know. The dreamer only knows if these are the impurities. But because the dream state does not know what is a waking state, that proves that only in the waking state we get carried away, we are influenced, we are dictated by these impurities. Am I clear? Say yes, please. We are only influenced, dictated. Find an unfavorable situation. You find a totally unfavorable situation, you have an extreme fear in the dream state. The moment you wake up, it is gone. Tiger is chasing you. In a dream, you wake up, and then you ensure yourself there is no tiger in the room. You are on your bed. Done. So where lies the problem? Only in a waking state. And if you sleep for 8 hours, it means 16 hours you don't have any problem. But 8 hours you don't have any problem. Only the problem lies in the 16 hours. Can't you celebrate? No, I'm very sensitive. Forget about it. You're not sensitive, you're crazy. Now I'm saying out of love. Think of this. We are discussing each and every impurity of the mind and how to deal with it. How to deal with it? Why? To create a favorable situation in our life. To start living in peace and happiness. So are you clear? Think of this, the analysis, the way we analyze. Self-inquiry is the method of analysis. I don't think it is psychoanalysis. I've seen a lot of people who are exceptions. It is an exception. I'm making a statement. Otherwise, I'm also a member of some American Psychological Association. They will sue me. If I'm constantly thinking about these impurities, I am increasing the number of thoughts pertaining to these impurities. It is not going to help me. And look at the approach of the Eastern wisdom. We just talk of are you in peace? Are you worthy of suffering? No. You have no right to die before you enter into peace and happiness. Look at the approach. Come back. So we have likes and dislikes. Let me take. So then if we follow, the master says, once we have understood the likes and dislikes, that is an impurity. And then the master says, the likes and dislikes arise from my experiences of joy and sorrow. I like this smiles because I experience the joy in one form, silently, unconsciously, or habitually. Do you see that? So it is based on my past experiences. Past experiences forms the habit. One name of the habit is impulsive nature. It is automatic. It is automatic. I look at the Starbucks experience, triggers in the mind. Okay, let me grab it. Because that joy reminds me habitually, impulsively, instinctively. So where is the problem? I don't live life consciously. My intellect, which is free intellect given to the human being, it stops thinking. Then only we have a habit, we have an impulsive nature. That is fall in unconsciousness. And when you fall in unconsciousness, we have to act and behave like a machine. And the free intellect constantly hammers our mind that you are not a machine. You are not an animal. Your life is not impulsive. So there is a struggle between the two. That causes the problem. It needs a constant self-inquiry. Let me talk in a different way. You like red color. Give me 5 reasons that you like red color, or one likes the yellow color. There is no reason. And if you give a reason, you analyze further. You will find you cannot give any reason. Why you like red color, why one likes yellow color, why the third likes, why you like that kind of an eyebrow, and why the other likes a different kind of an eyebrow. They all come from the past experiences. Did I tell you? I should like it. I have a preference. As long as I live, I enjoy pasta. Let me eat it. But if pasta says, if you don't eat me, I will cause a problem. That is the problem. Does the pasta says to you that you'll have lot of problem if you don't eat me? I can consciously make the world outside alive, and I relate to it with the likes and dislikes. That is the problem. Are you getting it? Are you getting it? So there is a pasta, there is other kind of a food is there. So now you are extraordinarily sensitive in a positive way. What it means? That extraordinary sensitivity raises your self-awareness. You like pasta is not there. So that extraordinary awareness tells your intellect that the eat to live or live to eat. That principle comes to your mind. So you make a right choice. Eat to live or live to eat. Think of it. But why it should come to my mind? Because I have a free intellect. Only we human beings have an exercise to make a choice. Should I make a choice to survive in a better way, or should I make a choice to die in a better way? Are you getting it? Do you understand that? We will continue to talk about these impurities one by one. In case of like, in cases of dislike. This, for 3 days, obviously, we'll have another session on Thursday. So during these 3 days, you have to analyze how your mind creates an unfavorable situation with like and dislike, with reference to the food, with reference to the clothes, with reference to the people, with reference to the relationship, with reference to the world outside. And the moment you analyze, you start thinking about it. This likes and dislikes always enters in a waking state. It is habitual, it is impulsive, and it makes my intellect bondage, creates a bondage. That is what the emotional bond is. So sensitive in a negative way is this because of the likes and dislikes. Don't believe it unless you analyze it, unless you observe it, unless you enter into that state of awareness. Close your eyes. Let us start our practice. Eyes are closed, my friends. Eyes are closed. Adjust and align the position of the body. Why you align the position of the body? To be comfortable. Who knows that you are comfortable? It is your mind. You are bringing the mind back. You see? You're making the mind conscious. Oh, is that the way? Yes. It is so simple. So we have already understood that if you are a seeker of the highest order, the position of the body is done, you experience the comfort, and you are not doing any kind of a struggle. The first step that we have understood in this journey. Second step, we go a little deeper, being comfortable. Again, be very clear. Going deeper does not mean you are going inside the body. Going deeper, going inside means you rise in awareness. So eyes are closed, body is steady. In that steadiness of the body, you look at the neck joint mentally. Mentally, you are aware of the neck joint. You feel the sensation, comfort, and steadiness. So the first level of awareness, purely a physical part, the neck joint. Second level of awareness, it is your experience. It is inner. It is not physical. Sensation, comfort, and steadiness. So the mind naturally moves deeper inside. It finds the sense of emptiness and blankness. That emptiness is the space, and the space is awareness. That I take care in the Saturday session deeply. So move the mind on the shoulder joint. You are moving the mind on the shoulder joint, and suddenly the mind says, I like this. It will cause the discomfort. Understand, we have to live in an extraordinary awareness. And then you have a sensation, comfort, and steadiness behind that, deeper than that. Deeper means rise in consciousness. Deeper does not mean that you are looking inside the body. You become aware, and the entire body, physical experience of the body. Then you have an inner, subtler experience. What is that? Sensation, comfort, and steadiness. Still subtler. You look into the space, you are aware of the space. Maybe the thoughts are coming and going, but you don't pay attention to those thoughts. Let them come and let them go. Now I'm doing meditation. I have decided by the same mind that I'm doing practice, and still the other part of the mind constantly uh, have an influx of the thoughts. They are unwanted, unwelcome thoughts. Do you still remember? On a mental highway, 3 lanes. Like the highways, we have 3 lanes. First lane, unwanted, unwelcome thoughts. And they take over the intellect in the lane number 2. When they take over, then what happens? Impurity of the mind. What is the result of the impurity mind? Anxiety, duality, conflict, stress, suffering, anger, all kinds of suffering. So you do not participate. What is happening in the lane 1? Unwanted, unwelcome thoughts are coming. Let them come, let them go. You are in the lane number 2. You are aware. What is the meaning of the lane number 2? You are aware. So when you are aware, what happens? You are separating the lane 1 from the lane 2. What is that separation? Either in the thought or in the field of awareness. What happens? Instantly you drop into the lane number 3. What is lane number 3? Calmness. But it takes time to purify the mind. So we have another option. We use the mantra or a thought. Mantra is also a thought. How we use the mantra? By meaning and the knowledge. So it has an element of self-inquiry. Sarve Sham Swastir Bhavatu. You're saying in your mind, Sarve Sham Swastir Bhavatu. Sarve Sham Swastir Bhavatu. I'm not talking of anything of the cult, dogma, belief, and release. Because when you are speaking something foreign, it triggers your brain. It's important, in a sense, to help the brain, to break its habit pattern. I already discussed. So, what is the meaning? Meaning is let everyone be happy. What is the knowledge behind it? So, happiness is an essential nature of every living species on this planet. That is why every living species is searching for happiness in the only difference with the human being that I have a choice. No other living species has a choice. And that is why I started this session that we don't have a right to die unless we discover the peace and happiness. So these chain of thought should become your way of thinking. That is what is the self-inquiry. It's not a big deal. Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu. Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu. Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu. Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu. What it means? Let there be peace for all. I'm not praying for peace for others. I'm recognizing that the peace is essential nature of every living species, including me. So peace is within me. So the mind stops running outside for peace and happiness. That is the key. You see, in every session, I give you another meaning. Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu. Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu. Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu. Sarvesham means let there be completeness in all. Completeness means what? Holy, whole. So the self-inquiry will lead us that we are complete in ourselves. That sense of completeness awakens us to peace and happiness, love and wisdom. That is the key. What happens? It drops all our anxiety, duality, anger, greed, sensitivity, etc. We will discuss later. Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu. Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu. Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu. Let there be auspiciousness for all. That is what I was talking about. Auspiciousness, I would make it very simple, that you start thinking that you are nature of peace and happiness. That is enough. And then you question what is in your mind that is causing the problem. I'm peace and happiness. How dare you mind as causing the problem? That is a very initial stage of auspiciousness. We will go deeper. You have done it, and now still the mind doesn't leave us. No issue. We are always ready. So we're going to breathe in 3 different ways to purify the mind temporarily. Any breathing practice only helps the mind to purify it temporarily. So look inside the forehead. In the space, mentally say Om Shanti. Keep on saying Om Shanti. Recognize the steadiness in the body and start breathing from the chest through the nostrils. Not very fast, not very slow. It's a change of the rate and the rhythm of the breath, expansion of the chest and squeezing of the chest with inhalation and exhalation. Keep on. Keep on. And if the mind says, I cannot do it for a longer period, that is another impurity. I believe everyone is okay as far as doing the breathing. Keep on doing it. Om Shanti also continues, and the body remains in the state of steadiness except the movement of the rib cage. And stop it, do nothing except Om Shanti continues. And you're not doing anything, keeping the body steady. It's so natural. At the same time, recognize and accept any changes, experiences in and around the head, any vision and colors. You are a witness to them. You're not carried away by them. The moment you get carried away, you miss the self inquiry. You miss the higher journey. And now we switch on to the belly breathing. What is belly breathing? You inhale, the belly expands. You exhale, the belly squeezes. Om Shanti continues, steadiness of the body continues. Started. It's a little longer breath with conscious awareness of expansion and contraction of the belly. Keep on. It's a longer breath. The whole body doesn't move except the belly. Please continue. Continue. Om Shanti also continues. Keep on. We have kept the target of 3 minutes each breath. And now you all are familiar. We have one newcomer, so it's okay. I believe she can do it. I know her. She has a tremendous will to do it. And stop this, do nothing, but continue Om Shanti deep inside the forehead in the space. Body remains steady because you are not doing anything with the body. And at the same time, you recognize and accept the changes that is taking place. You don't have a liking or disliking. You have the vision and you have the colors. You see the changes in and around the head. Everything is okay because you don't have any preference. You have a power of discernment that I have been talking almost in every session. Why our goal is to find who we are. Now the third breathing that includes both the belly and the chest. You inhale long, deep breath. First, you expand the belly, then the chest, and exhale from the belly and the chest. Start it. Om Shanti continues. How many times you forget to say Om Shanti indicates the impurity of the mind. We are doing everything with a clarity, not with a belief, with analysis. And that is the real journey of any Eastern wisdom that results into awakening and realization. Mind forgets, that is also impurity. Mind is carried away by a thought, that is also the why? We will understand that. At present, we are just practically, experientially understanding. You're maintaining the steadiness in the body. Om Shanti continues. In that, you have a long, deep, and a hissing breath that engages the belly and the rib cage together, one after the other. and stop it. Even Om Shanti, you stop it, do nothing. Awareness of the breath, recognize and accept the changes that is happening now in terms of the vision, sensations. That sensation may be tingling, numbness, freezing, cold, heat. We are going to talk in detail about those changes. Eastern wisdom answers everything. And now is the time to look inside the heart, the cave of your heart. Either it is a blankness or darkness. Visualize a triangle, the equilateral triangle pointing upward, and move the mind on each side of a triangle, dropping Om Shanti, clockwise and anti-clockwise. What is the point of having a triangle? If you can sync the movement of the mind with the Om Shanti and one side of a triangle, you can definitely tell yourself the purity of the mind. If they are in sync, purity of the mind. But we need not to worry about it if it is not. Why? That's why we are practicing. Clockwise and anti-clockwise. I said sync. Syncing of the movement of the mind on one side, dropping Om Shanti. Om begins at first point, Shanti ends at the second point of the side. Om Shanti. The intellect understands that, okay, this is right, moving from one point to the other, but mind, because of the impurity. But we keep on trying. I discussed about the pebble and the crow story. In a moment you find the sink is there, while mentally saying Om, push the mind deep inside from the center of a triangle to the heart deeper inside. And the mind seemingly stops, you drop Shanti and done. At that moment, you do nothing. Almost you are in a state of total blankness and emptiness. You are aware, or I call it conscious self absorption. As long as you stay there, the moment any thought disturbs you, return again. Start with the triangle and self absorption again. And I'll leave this step also. We have the last step now. And that is how I explain. Om Shanti continues, but how? There are 4 segments on the fingers of 4 fingers, excluding the thumb. So how you do it? You bring the mind's eye on the first segment of the little finger or the index finger. The mind side looks at it. Mind's ear hears Om Shanti. Mind's skin touches it. and you drop Om Shanti. Then you move to the second segment or a line, Om Shanti, Om Shanti. Third. Fourth is basically the top, the tip of the finger. From there, you move to the second finger, the tip of the finger, Om Shanti. So it is to check the higher level of awareness or rise in consciousness in the mind. Everything is happening in the mind. The mind has adopted the role of all the sense organs too. You see, initially, the triangle step seems to be the higher step, but now this step is higher. More is coming. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Bring your awareness on the right hand. Bring your mind on the left hand. Lift your Buddha palms. Place it on your eyes. Open the eyes inside the palms. First, know your experiences. Bring the hands down neither time. It's your turn. We all have to share our experiences. How are you, Ashok?
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Uh, it was a very peaceful and calm, relaxed, and there are almost no thought. It was most early in 2 and 3, and
Good.
it's a very nice. Thank you.
Thank you. How are you, Stephen?
Very good. It was extremely quiet, very, very fast. I was completely absorbed in every aspect of the meditation, and the only effort that took place was lifting my hands to my eyes at the very end.
Beautiful. Beautiful. That's wonderful. How are you, David and Jerry?
Thank you, sir. It was just a really peaceful, wonderful meditation. I did notice a cold body feeling towards the end, and growing amount of indigo colors was my only observation through the whole thing. But it was really, really deep and peaceful and simple.
Yeah, indigo indicates a total self-absorption. That's so beautiful. Wonderful. How are you, Jerry?
Sir, I'm good, thank you. The mind was very focused on the peace and the joy throughout. Yeah, just very aligned with that. So,
And it was naturally focused.
Yeah.
You need not to make an effort. You need not to make an effort. In terms of the likes and dislikes, I remember how one beautiful woman who is very, you can say, close to me, means, we are related. So I was talking about the likes and dislikes. She talks me to discussed about this pain and the pleasure. And then after some time, she said, do you want coffee? Yes, I said, I like coffee. So she pointed to me, now see, you like coffee. You said you have to go beyond the likes and dislikes. That is what happens with a little knowledge is dangerous thing. So unless we pursue the journey, it doesn't happen. How are you, Brandy?
I'm good. Thank you. I like coffee too. My practice today was just really deep and involved. And in fact, and maybe the deepest part of it, somebody rang the doorbell and the dog started barking. And it was like, oh my gosh, but I was able to really stay absorbed in my meditation.
That's good. That is how we discern whatever is happening in the world outside. Because I cannot have any thought without relationship with the world outside. Do you wake up in the morning and do you think that I'm Brandy, I'm David, I'm Jerry? Nobody thinks. I cannot have any thought about myself. But we forcibly think. What is our forcible thing? I have a lot of stress. I know since birth you carry the burden of your stress in your life. No. So how are you, Terry? We'll go to Terry. Christina, Terry is your neighbor. Terry is in New York City.
Yes. Hello.
Hello.
It was quick. I felt, I was conscious of effort, but the dispassionate toward the effort. I felt hot and cold, no color, just white, and confident.
Very good. I can tell you, Terry, just before this session, people will not believe it. Let the people don't believe it. If you believe in the Eastern wisdom, it works. You had certain tremors, but now they are not. What happens? The power of discernment and dispassion with the purity of the mind will take care of you.
Okay.
How are you, Anastasia?
Thank you. I'm good. My belly is moving faster and easier, and I'm very happy because of that. And it was very quick and peaceful meditation, very deep. And I felt a lot of feelings like from my childhood. I mean, smell and just feelings. I cannot describe them, but I just, the mantra helped me to stay focused and to not follow these feelings. And
Yes.
they went away.
They went away. That's why I say that all the mantras are used to purify the mind. It has nothing to do with religion, cult, dogma, belief, etc. No habit. You did wonderful. That's really good, Anastasia. And now we'll go to, oh yeah, let me go to first. Vaibhav.
Thank you, sir. Sir, I'm calm. It was quite peaceful.
Quite peaceful. Wonderful. And Christina. We are meeting after 11 years. I don't hear you.
There we go.
Yeah.
At least 11, I think.
Yeah.
I'm freezing right now and I have chills throughout my body. And I found spaciousness.
Good.
I noticed myself being carried off somewhere and then was able to come back.
Able to come back. And you feel the sense of calmness.
Mm-hmm.
After 11 years?
After 11
No, I'm just joking. So to summarize, we will continue the journey how to purify the mind. No, we have already discussed how to purify the mind, but now we are taking up each impurity, like likes and dislikes, and then we have, do you remember, desire, hesitation, and greed. These are the three trio impurities. And then we will talk about the ego and the selfishness inside. So these are the major impurities. You are free from those impurities. Nobody dare to put you in stress and suffering. That is all for today. Thank you very much. Oh, sorry, Samir. Where? Samir has gone? I always think Samir was in a session, but he left, Yeah, he might be fully busy. Thank you.
Thank
Now
you.
this-
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.